So we went ahead and did a little cleanup on this thing. Seems like it's back running again. Kind of gave you guys the background on this before we start the rebuild on this truck. It's going to get restored, and I'm going to have to part with it. I just can't keep all these things, so this one here kind of fell to the chopping block. Just because you know, I have something else that replaces it that's much more comfortable to drive. But anyway, this old rabbit, here's the story on this thing and why it ended up. If you ever watched any of my really old videos, you see that I built this truck and I posted it for fun on YouTube with no intentions of ever monetizing anything. I didn't even know you could. But I just did a little build video on this thing, posted it online a long time ago. And I actually, you know, built this truck for a work truck. And I did one job with this truck. It was several locations for a company that sells coffee. You know, kind of sounds a little bit like Star Pukes. That's what I call them now, because they treat their contractors like crap and make everybody work at night because they're not willing to close their drive-through. Just had to get that in there, I figured. But because we were working at night, of course, this glue that we were working with ended up all over the place. Look at this crap everywhere. And because they didn't like us working, they didn't want to close their drive-thru because they could lose money. So maybe somebody should just not go there and get coffee. But you know, because they didn't want to do that. McDonald's closes their drive-thru, no problem. Hey, they need to close, no problem. We'll do it, no problem. I had no problem doing that. Oh yeah, well, you guys need to work, you know, take care of you contractors. But anyway, this thing got just so beat up from that job. Got ran into in the side. Then the wiring and stuff started malfunctioning because we're driving it, you know, just hammering, you know, 300, 400 miles a night in this thing. And I mean, I'm literally driving all over Southern California because the schedule was so terrible on that job. I didn't even want to do it, but they were just like, please, we need you to do it. And so anyway, so that ended up just getting this truck destroyed. You know, it just got to the point where, you know, all the headlights didn't work, and then the shifter. Then I was driving it right after that, and it got caught in third. So I was just driving it. I went 1, 2, 3, and then it never came out of third gear. And that's a problem with the rabbits. They have an issue with the trans. It'll do that and get stuck in third, and then it's time to just take the tranny out and get a different one or rebuild it or whatever, if you ever have that happen. So I put another T4 tranny in it, which is the best gearing for these T4 5-speed. 4T, sorry, backwards. And I put that in here, and then of course the shift linkage wouldn't work. So it sat here for a few years, and just because I was just frustrated with it. And finally, I think Chris worked on it for like 2 days on the shift linkage, and he ended up doing something that I didn't even think of. I mean, he like made it go above the turbo or something, but we got it to go around the turbo in there because it's really compact, tight stuff. And I think it feels like it actually shifts gears now. So anyway, I figure, you know, the little story before we drive, and then we'll go take a little drive in this thing and check it out, see if it really does work, and maybe I could use it because I have a job right now that I could use my TDI sport wagon for, but I'm actually my transmission is having issues, and it's, you know, the only thing that goes out on that transmission is basically the valve body has to get rebuilt. But you got to take it out, take it to this place, and they have to identify it, and then figure out if they can order one or if they have to send yours in and have it rebuilt and send it back. That's what their story was. So I have to drive something else during that time. So good old rabbit, you know, if it's running right, we're gonna drive it for a few days and check it out and get it back on the road. Of course, I'm going to get it back on the road anyway. I'm going to paint it, make it look nice again, bring it back to its normal glory, and and then part with it. I'm sure it'll probably sell pretty quickly. It's got a great motor in it. I mean, these motors are expensive, but a lot of people, you know, the problem is they discount it. They go, oh, I could get one with a 1600. It's like, dude, you drive one with a 1600, you drive this thing. It's like, that's like driving like a 36 horse that's wore out, and then driving like a 1700 Rabbit motor. It's like the, you know, this thing will outrun. I mean, it keeps right up with the 1700 or better motor, at least. If you have a really good running 1700, it might keep up with this, but I think this thing still would outrun it. Anyway, we're going to take a drive in it and check it out. And this is a kind of pre-built video. You guys can see what we got here. Kind of got beat up. I mean, just got hammered. You know, look at this stuff. Just got beat to death. I mean, my dog did that. There was a squirrel that got under the hood. He just won't give up. And this hood's going to come off of here. It's got a big giant wave in it. We have another hood we picked up a while back for it. The inside's in great shape. I mean, the inside, the seats are wet right now because I just shot water and the window was open. Yeah, before I got it shut, you know, water got inside. Seats are in great shape. More better than most cars I've seen like this one. And we have a new dash piece for it, and all the wiring works. That's another key thing. On 1980, you just never see them anymore with all the wiring working, because we actually rewired the entire front harness in the truck. So everything's completely rewired, and we have a turbo diesel 1.9 liter in here. And let's go take a drive. Check it out. All right, so let's start this bad boy up. Of course, the air's on, so hear a little air noise. Sorry, I am not suffering. Right, so far so good. The shift linkage seems to work amazing. Chris did a wonderful job. Of course, that was after I spent like weeks on putting other brackets in and filling in loose areas and tightening up stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of linkage on these. They're a real pain in the rear. So anyway, we've got the air on. That's one of the things that's great about the 1.9 liter. If you guys are looking at considering going 1.6 or 1.9, I would always encourage you to go 1.9 if you're considering doing that. It's so worth the money. It's not even. We lost some footage back there. We lost a little bit of footage. I don't know what happened. Let me try this again, so you guys can get for a ride here. Too bad, because we went on the freeway already too. So, but we don't really have time to do that again. The air on, nice and cool. Inside, 1.6, it just, as soon as you put the air on, it's just completely useless. 1.9, you notice it a little bit. There's a little bit of power, but not very much really. Until I turn it off, and then I go, wow, this thing really hauls ass. But it's, you know, it's still so drivable the way with the air on that it's not like the 1600. As soon as you put the air on, it's like it just goes so slow. It's like a 36 horsepower motor with the air on. If you had air conditioning on a 36 horse, you could turn it on, the whole truck starts to shake. It's terrible. The shifting is great on this thing now. Chris really pulled it off. I tightened up all this stuff. I spent a bunch of time tightening up a bunch of parts, putting shims in, and replaced all the stuff. It was loose. Made some. I forget what we made some of the shift linkage. We didn't get in our kit. It's all really tight. About 65. A little faster than the bus. Does about 65 or so, something like that. 60, 65, somewhere in there. That's with the air off. It's a lot faster. But it's still, it's plenty drivable with it on. I gotta watch my speed through here. They always have speed traps. So, and I don't, my speedometer is like so far off that I have no idea. That fifth gear is a 79. It's running 388 with a 79 Ford. That's the T14. Still, I think the top speed on this thing's about 85 or maybe 90, and that's it. It runs at RPMs. Decent. ahead and end it there, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.